Here we are.
Way. And this is the man in the pits with the tits. Brendan, how are you, Brendan?
I am fine, thank you, my friend. Surviving.
Surviving. That's all we can do. Surviving.
That's all we can do. Yeah, that's
all you've got to
drinking
do.
wine.
So, what have we got to talk about? Nothing really happened at the last race, did it? It's boring, really.
You know what? Considering there was
Processional.
a sprint, 2 practice sessions, a race, and both titles won. Nothing really to talk about.
Nothing to
Nothing
talk
at all.
about.
Ferrari didn't make any strategic mistakes apart from putting the driver out on wet tires when everybody else was on dry.
But who?
But that's par for the course these days. That's
Come on,
normal,
wait a minute.
Hey, how happy were you when you found that out? It's going to be the whole show is going to be that music.
This is it in the background, the whole show. That man was so beautiful. To see that team, to see how happy they were, it was quite nice.
To see Günther, that episode of Netflix is going to be legendary.
Yeah.
Fucking legends!
Yeah. And that's enough of that. That's enough
Beautiful.
Of that.
No,
That
it's
was
not,
beautiful.
mate.
It was great
Absolutely
to see them. And really unfortunately, the little tap from old Danny Rick. His last passing goodbye.
That was
because he
that
couldn't
was
have his seat, probably.
Well, let's get to that bit later.
Well, let's get to that bit. Because we've got a lot to talk about, haven't we? We've got
We
a lot
actually
to talk
do.
about. For once, there wasn't no filler this week.
No filler, all killer.
First of all, before we move into anything else, I've got something important to say, okay? And I'm going to share the screen for this.
Is it your OnlyFans tag name? Is it you want to drive some business?
Oh,
onto
you
OnlyFans?
just can't let this go.
Well, when I'm
Right.
associated with somebody like you, you've got to.
Look,
got to-
this is my complaint.
Oh, hang on.
Can you see that?
Yeah, it's a crappy looking acid.
Why
house.
are they doing this to all the baseball caps? I'm sorry, you spend 30 quid on a baseball cap and then they trot out with the same baseball cap covered in paint splats thinking it's cool. It's not cool. I'm sorry. No, I don't think Ferrari have done that. Ferrari hasn't done this madness.
Is this
McLaren-
your opener? Is this your opener for the
This is
podcast?
my start of a 10. Look at this one. Look at
All
this
the
one.
things we have to talk about, and you're complaining about crappy merchandise that you've got no chance of buying.
Well, yes.
Now this
The
illustrates.
poor designs of
If anyone
baseball
is
cap.
if anyone's under any illusions
No.
that we prepare any of this, this is exactly how much preparation goes into this. One of the best Grand Prix, one of the most talking point filled race weekends.
I just want to clear this up.
so far, and
Stop.
his opener is crappy paint covered merchandise that he's never.
Why are
gonna
they
buy.
doing it? Why have they done that? It's insulting to the fans. If you go to a race, you buy your Ferrari cap, and then the next race, you watch, he's going to come. That Leclerc's going to come out in his Ferrari. Haven't done this, but the others have, right? You're going to come out and I've got the same
You know
cap,
what?
and they
There's
come
nothing to
out
talk about
and they've got a cap
Ferrari.
that's exactly the same but splattered in paint. That's
Okay,
disgraceful.
when you want to talk about F1, can you give me a call?
This
back,
is-
or-
I'm apoplectic, and if I knew how to spell that or knew even what that word meant,
So for those watching on radio,
yeah.
we are showing pictures of 2 tasteless caps. That's what this is all about, and nothing more.
Nothing more.
In a minute now, we'll resume regular programming.
We will resume. I'm sorry, people listening on the podcast, but all I'm doing is showing you.
Who got you wound up with this?
It's lazy.
You wound
It's
yourself up,
lazy.
did you?
It's lazy that's what they think they can do. Is just splatter it with paint and call that
Right,
design.
we've covered this. Let's get on to the
Okay.
actual event.
But this
Are
is
we gonna
no.
start with a sprint?
This-
Are we going to start with the actual race, or how are we going to do that?
This isn't over. Okay.
No,
My
there's one race
war
left.
on the merchandise is not over. Okay, so let's go to good race, bad race.
Hang on. Are we doing
Well,
are
don't
we doing the
interrupt.
Grand Prix? Or are we doing the sprint first? What are we doing?
We'll do
Are
the whole
Are we
thing.
just talking about the whole thing, right? Okay. All right.
Good race,
Just
bad
want
race.
to check that you're not going to complain.
Oh, will you
about
stop
that
interrupting?
Under Armour
I've
shirt.
got to have a pause so I can edit it. Right, good race. You finished? Good race, bad race.
No, not yet.
Hey! It's a good race, bad race. Okay. We'll quickly talk about the sprint because it was an enjoyable watch. The qualifying for the sprint.
It was. I wasn't looking forward to it. I had a bit of a stressy Saturday. I sat down thinking this is just going to be a train. And then it wasn't. It's
the track. It's the track. It's got to be the track.
I think the track and the fact that there's absolutely zero given by anybody at this stage of the season. They're all just out to have
seems
fun.
to be, though, doesn't it?
That's a bit of a controversial follow-up to be had later on.
So what's going on between Ocon and Alonso then? What's that about?
There's always been undercurrents. Ocon is a bit of a smiling assassin. He's got a reputation in the paddock for being all nicey, very diplomatic, young kid, comes from a normal-ish family, not super wealthy. He's worked his way through.
Normal-ish?
Yeah,
Okay.
Nice kid, right? Is
right.
The general. He took a year out. He came back. He was more balanced. He's been racing really well. Apparently, when he puts the lid down, he is brutal. He is absolutely brutal. And Fernando isn't going to stand for it. There's rumors that him and Gasly have had disputes previously. Him and Perez have had disputes previously. He's a fiery character. And it's, when you're up against Fernando Alonso, you're in the same car. You want to know, as he's an up-and-coming driver.
It sounds like he'd be exciting if he was in a fun car.
Penciled in. His name's penciled in the possibilities to replace Hamilton. That's the way he's looked at in the paddock, and he's managed by.
He's never talked about much, though, is he?
He's what?
He's never talked about that much.
Not in British TV.
Really?
We've got our own. Yeah. We've got our own golden boys to talk about, but the French love him. Why not?
Really?
French and Pierre, they're a dream team for French garage. They're a dream team.
So he had a little bit of a tussle in the sprint, which a lot of it. I think Alonso realised afterwards that a lot of that was his fault. Moving too late behind the car, you're going to lose your wing. You're going to lose your wing.
Alonso, but Ocon isn't going to give up on that. In that situation, do you know what I mean? He might have moved too late, but he's not going to speed up or get out of the way, or it's Alonso's fault. He's got the cojones to say, "Your mistake, mate. I'm staying where I'm going. I'm going where I'm going. I'm staying where I'm staying. You're in the wrong. Deal with your problems."
I don't know. I just thought the bit. I don't know. The bit where he lost his wing. I think that was in the sprint. It was Alonso moving too late, just moving too late.
Yeah, there was two incidents in the sprint, and it was. I reckon Alonso was definitely at fault on both of them.
Yeah, and you can tell when the interview, he's just like, he's not going to start moaning about it. He just kept smiling away, like this big fake grin, just to get through it.
What, Alonso?
Yeah, he was just in the interview. You see him. He's like this. Yeah, 2 more races.
So what?
I
think it is going to be an interesting one to watch next season. He did all right. Ocon, he was 8th in the final race. He came up through the field. He was racing.
Alpines. And they had a good race, considering in the race, McLaren had a dreadful time on.
So sad.
Danny Rick out first, 7th lap.
And that image of Lando Norris out of his car, the boy looked drained, didn't he? You can tell he
said he was ill, though, didn't he? He said it wasn't very well.
Yeah, he had food poisoning. Nick De Vries had a seat fitted and everything. He was ready. He had a suit on. He was ready to go. And Lando was like, "No, mate, I'm just gonna fill up on Imodium and go."
Fill up. He'll be filling something up. Hey,
give me a plug, buddy. Give me a plug.
I bet you didn't want the camera showing him getting out of that car seat.
Well,
food poisoning. Food poisoning. If you've just been puking and
yeah, he was exploding. And apparently he was still. Oh, hey, excuse me. He was still being sick on Friday, or was it Saturday? Wow. One of the interviews in the press pen, he was like, "Yeah, I'm still being sick." So that's not a good way to be, and then to sit in the heat, and that's a humid place, and so good on him for doing it, but he looked drained. You imagine what he'd have looked like if he'd gone full distance in that race.
Yeah, and I think another bad race. Bad gone.
I think Norris. I think the fact that he did that, it shows that he's got that championship kind of killer instinct.
Well, he did it before, didn't he? When he had the flu,
Yeah.
he just got in the car and just went for it.
Yeah, he's got
imagine
that.
driving that with the flu. Oh my god! And no, he didn't say anything on the radio the whole race, did he? He's just going, thinking, one more lap.
Yeah. All right. Who next?
Bad race again. I think Mick Schumacher sealed his fate, didn't he? Really, this weekend.
I think
At one
so.
point, he was 8th.
Yeah, but that's because everyone had pitted. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. Let's just get the race standings up on here so we can really.
I mean, he finished 13th. He was up amongst it, but he didn't stand out. He needed to stand out this race.
He needed to have an all-conquering kind of comeback kind of
He needed to
drive.
stand out. You know, he qualified. Well, was he 12th? Why was he on the start? He was 12th on the starting grid after penalties and whatnot.
Yeah.
After the sprint, he finished.
Oh, we didn't finish in the race. K-Mag.
Yeah, he did.
Oh no, I'm looking at K-Mag.
K-Mag didn't.
K-Mag did. Yeah,
So,
I'm looking at K-Mag. 13th, we finished 13th.
The sprint grid was bookended by Haas's, right?
Just, it's not
One
good
at the
enough, is
front
it?
and
It's
one at
not
the
good
back.
enough.
Now, that's where Mick did well. I mean, he started in 20th and finished in 12th on the sprint. And
Yeah.
there was only one DNF. So that's a good race.
That's a solid.
good.
It's a solid. It's not good. It's just consistent. It's just
8
down
places.
the middle. Down the middle. It's down the middle.
8
for him.
places though.
Yeah, but it's down the middle for when his teammates on pole.
His teammate only finished 4 places ahead of him. Let's put it that way.
I don't know. It's just down the middle for me at the moment. Oh,
I
come on.
agree. He wasn't. He didn't shine high enough,
Yeah.
bright enough.
He
He
needed.
didn't stand out.
He didn't. He needed to get in that points. He needed to get in that top 10, especially when his teammate went out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good race is K-Mag. You know, let's talk about that. That shows that this is a team sport. You know, that car isn't great. K-Mag, God bless him, right? I don't mean this in a disrespectful way.
Don't you
But
dare
he's
disrespect my K-Mag.
He's a middle pack driver. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't imagine him winning the championship. But
Not in that car. Not in that car.
well,
Let's be honest.
come on. Right, anyway.
Never seen him in a good car.
But but the team put it together. The strategists, the mechanics, they made the calls. They got him where he should be. They got him on track at the right time with the right tires, in the right conditions. He put a lap in. He banked it. Everyone else, you know, yes, Russell's red flag helped out, but everything else, you know, they nailed that.
Yeah.
They nailed that performance.
Yeah.
The whole
it's
team.
Good. Yeah. Who else? Who else? Who else? Bad race at Latifi again. Always not as bad. It's second from last.
Hey, do you know what? Nicky didn't crash. That's a good race for Nicky.
That's a good race for Nicky, yeah.
And he
Albon,
was 16th.
Williams had a shocker at the
There
end.
was one runner behind him.
AlphaTauri, yeah. Sonoda,
Yeah.
who couldn't quite work out where he was going on that restart, could he?
That wasn't
Gasly had a
his
bit of a
fault,
bad
right?
race as well. Gasly,
So, do you know what happened with that?
Go on.
He pitted, and as he came round the corner, because of the GPS tracking in the car, right, let me wind up. Last year's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the unlapping of the cars was down to human error, apparently, right? They didn't. There wasn't the right number of cars flagged up as being lapped, and story, yada. So
Yeah.
to avoid, I'm being politically correct and not wanting to stir controversy. So going forward, to avoid controversy, they automated it. So they said, right, okay, the GPS positioning in the cars will be used to decide who's been lapped and who has been unlapped, and then they can unlap themselves or based on that information, right?
Okay.
So under the yellow flag conditions, he's behind George Russell. George Russell comes round. He's the only person. George Russell's the only person that's lapping him.
Yep.
So they come round the corner. Yuki cuts inside into the pit lane. George goes on the main track. Yuki goes in front of George, and his GPS chip registers him as unlapping himself. He then pulls into the pit.
Oh.
As his tyres change, George drives on. He comes out in 6th. It's not 6th. It's 20th or what?
Yeah,
18th.
yeah. Well, 6th.
Right.
Well, he's
But
not.
the
He's just a lap
GPS
down. He's a lap down. Yeah.
GPS had said that he's unlapped himself. So
That's
he
what
never got the
confused.
signal, the automated signal that was put in to prevent mistakes.
You know, listeners. Yeah, I've looked online. You're not going to get this kind of quality information on other podcasts. No one's told you that. They're all banging on about this other malarkey. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But no
Get your
one's
popcorn ready for
taken their time, like the man in the pits there, to describe why Tsunoda didn't unlap himself and
It's the
etc.
details that nobody else is interested in.
The details are like picking through the rubble. The man in the pits.
I found a dime.
But I'm telling you, that's really interesting because I just thought it was another, race steward cock up. And because God knows they do those, don't they, eh?
Yeah. They're staffed by ex-Ferrari employees.
Yeah. What's a pit, they say? Is that where you stop for 20 minutes? So,
all right, who else?
Gasly got a 5-second penalty, didn't he? Did he
Yeah,
get it in the
he's
race or did he get it
went
put
out.
on?
You know the situation with his license,
Oh God, he's not
his
going to
penalty points.
go on.
He's close to getting. He's 2 points away from the maximum penalty points you can be awarded in a season.
Right.
Before you have to have a race ban.
In the season. So he's just got to have a quiet race next race.
Now this is what the contentious point is. I think they cut them in half for the next season, so it's not a clean slate. It's a proper driving offence, for want of a better term. It stays on for a set period of time.
Okay.
I think something happens, but they're waiting for clarification from the FIA whether or not it clears because he's moving team and because it's a new season, or does he carry some of them over? So they're waiting to find out.
Okay.
But he's close to.
Those Alfa Romeo out. Joe Guan Yu, 12th. All right.
Bottas was doing well for a while.
Yeah, well, I'm moving up. I'm going from the back to the front here.
Yeah.
Then we got Vettel, 11th. He did all right, didn't
Vettel was in amongst it. He was
in amongst it a lot.
Wasn't he?
He was, and him and Stroll were like a bit scrappy. Those two teams.
Well, it wasn't him and Stroll. Let's be honest.
In the sprint, it wasn't it? They were a bit scrappy.
It was Stroll being crap and not seeing him in his wing mirrors and then pulling over. And poor Seb had to go out. They weren't battling. It wasn't an Ocon and Alonso situation.
Oh, what? He was told to get out of the way of him and he went the wrong way?
No, he didn't even know he was there. He just pulled over. And there was Vettel coming down the outside, just nailing it and going, what the fuck are you doing, mate?
Bottas has been bossing it. And I put that all down to his moustache, the tash. He's got a bit of a mullet going as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, but we need to talk about the moustache. He's grown that from Movember. Gentlemen, check your nuts. Get your prostate checked. It's all about mental health. More men die of suicide in the age of 20 to 30 than die of any other reason. Talk to your mates. Talk about these things. Public service, done.
Done, right, okay. Ocon there, finished behind Alonso. Who else? And then we got Alonso, obviously. So who was ahead of Alonso?
Then we're into the
and
mix.
now we're into the meat.
Then there's two drivers there. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Verstappen and Perez.
Hey,
Let's go Ferrari first. Let's do Ferrari and do out the winner.
They had a good race, I think.
They
They
did.
had a great race.
Considering Leclerc was at the back, I thought that car was out.
He was nose into the barrier.
I thought that car was done for.
Yeah.
I thought that was done for, that car.
Yeah.
And the fact that he ends up there, and Sainz as well.
That was solid racing from Ferrari.
Yeah, it's solid.
Solid racing.
That's kind of solid they could have done with all season. To be honest.
Now, do you know who wasn't on the pit wall that week?
Binotto.
Let's come back to that later.
Man in the pits. See, you don't get this from another one. Toto wasn't there either. There's something about these.
No, he wasn't. No, they're trying to keep the budget down.
That's what it is. Yeah, couldn't afford his turkey Twizzlers. That's why.
That's it. Yeah.
And Lewis Hamilton and George Russell 1-2. So, is George Russell the new boss in that team? That was the closest to an even match, although Hamilton's tyres were a bit older. That was the closest to an even match those two have got. Would you say?
Yes, but I would say one swallow doesn't make a summer. It's been coming for George. All right, the car has been coming. The car has been getting better. You can see that from how Lewis came through the pack again. He's in a good car. He's a good driver. We know that.
Yeah.
We need to get them like for like. Hamilton crashed into Verstappen.
Yep.
There could have been issues.
We're going to talk
on the
about
car.
it. Yeah, could have
Russell.
been. We're going to talk about it. I just want to make this point.
No, my point is that the cars weren't matched.
I don't.
Right?
Okay. They were told to race as well at the end. I thought that was quite interesting.
Possibly be issues with his car. Russell had a coolant leak on his car. They didn't know if he was going to finish. They didn't want to tell him, and they let him carry on. And
Perez had no answer for this weekend, did he? Perez had no answer for them, and he ended up on the wrong tyre at the end, the medium. No hard tyre. Isn't it funny?
You moved on to Perez now. Okay.
No, we were talking about. I just want to get. We're going to get to the meat of the sandwich in a minute.
No. I was talking about Perez. I was talking about Russell and Hamilton.
Oh, go. Sorry.
They weren't in matched cars, right? And what you're asking about is he the new boss of the team? They need to be in cars of similar condition. Russell was carrying a water leak issue, and we don't know what issues Hamilton was carrying. So, yes, they did very, very well. Yes, I think Mercedes they've got a grip on this car. They've now got a race-winning car again. It will be interesting to see what happens next week if they both stay out of trouble and they're racing mano a mano, and we'll see who's better, because that's what every's been wanting. You know,
I do think Russell's been beating Hamilton quite a lot in quali as well.
But then wasn't that admitted that it was the first half of the season? Hamilton was trying a lot of different replacement parts. They were trying different setups on the car. They were experimenting, which cost him some time, but he was taking it on the chin.
Yeah. Okay.
So now they've got a race, you know what I mean? Now they've got a race-winning car.
They're definitely number two, aren't they, to Red Bulls, or even on par. I think
as a package,
they've got Perez beat. I think Mercedes have got Perez beat in that Red Bull, not Verstappen.
No,
now
I would agree with that.
First of all, let's go for this Hamilton Verstappen incident.
I think the stewards got it wrong. I think that Hamilton was ahead and turned in rather than. I think he didn't give Verstappen enough room on that corner.
I always say this. He didn't give me enough room.
Well, they have to give one car's width.
Well, there's a little bit of a discrepancy between like that was turn 2 and that there were 2 turns there. I think it's more of a racing incident myself. I just do. I think.
But then, by saying that, if it was a racing incident, then there's nobody penalised.
Yeah, I know.
And Max got a 5-second penalty. So you are saying that the stewards got it wrong?
I think they got it wrong. I don't think anyone should have been penalised. I think when you're in those moments, it's a split-second decision. I just think I'm not going to go. I think it's more a racing incident. It leans to more a racing incident to me. Okay. But Max, Anyway, what else have we got to talk about before we get to this whole elephant that's in the room, people? I'm glad you've hung on if you're still listening.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Norris and Leclerc. That was a racing incident, do you think? Who got a penalty for that?
I don't think anyone got a penalty. I think Leclerc spun out, didn't he?
Yeah, Leclerc. I don't know if Norris didn't he get a penalty? I don't know. Okay. Was it the Goats home race? Well, it's not really ridiculous question, is it really? Okay, so let's get to it. What's this Perez Verstappen thing? And if anybody's listening there and doesn't know about this is big news. I think it's bigger than what first sounds like. What's your take on this? Come on, let's have it.
I think that Perez got it right when he said that That shows you what kind of person he is.
Okay.
I think Max was bang out of order. Perez rightly said that he won those 2 titles with his help, and Max would do this one thing for him.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't care what he's done in the past. That's nasty to bring anything up to stop him getting 2 points to be second in the championship.
I think what Verstappen's done is very foolish. And the reason why it's very foolish is, even if he had this in his mind, why would you open your mouth about it on the radio? Why would you say, we know, come on, we know, we talked about this, come on, blah, blah, blah. And Brundle spotted it straight away. Is this about Monaco? Okay. And this has now opened a whole can of worms. Verstappen only had to finish that race and say, "Oh, sorry, there was something wrong with my radio. I couldn't hear anybody for the last 10 laps." See what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all he had to say. And then in private, he could have gone, "Yeah, I heard you, but I wasn't doing it. I told you that before, and this is the reason why." But now he's publicly done it. And now he's put Red Bull in an awkward position. And here's the awkward position after my intense Google searching on this matter. Going back.
I missed.
Can you hear me, mate? My internet connection is unstable.
Frozen again.
Yeah.
You're frozen again.
That's all right. Are you still there now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here. Okay. Yeah.
What he's done, he's put Red Bull under the microscope for this. Because what he's basically is come out through a lot of other sources that now I completely agree with you. I think he was foolish because Perez has helped him win these championships, and he's let him by on so many occasions.
Yeah,
and he let him by in that race. Do you know what I mean? He could have said, "No, I'm not going to let you by," right? So I think Perez is absolutely right, but there's nothing now. There's what's the word? What's happened is it's opened up the can of worms about Monaco. Now, through other sources, that Perez has owned up to crashing on purpose in the Monaco qualifying to several people, and that Horner knew and other people knew. Now, that's a big deal in F1.
Yeah.
If someone's cheated and people know about it.
Yeah.
Especially if you cause a crash. It's happened a couple of times. We're talking about the Schumacher incident in 2006 and Crashgate, the PK thing. It's a big deal. And it's a big deal for, if you've crashed your car on purpose, you've put other people's lives in danger.
He's put Carlos Sainz directly in danger. He came round there.
Marshals, everything.
Yeah, everyone, yeah.
And he's owned up to it, to Horner.
Has he?
Well, that's the rumour that he's actually said. He's owned up to it, to Horner and other members of the team. And if they knew, it's only a couple of seconds before Verstappen's going to know, and because it's spoiled his pole lap. Now, my issue is, I don't give a shit about Verstappen's pole lap or whatever. My issue is, it's opened up a can of worms for Red Bull, because if they know that their driver has crashed and they've not said anything, that's a big deal.
If they've not sanctioned him in-house.
Well, it's not even that. It's you're all part of. If you know,
he should be reported to the FIA for that.
Well, the whole team
They've
now
not done that.
Yeah, exactly. The whole team now. He's opened up a can of worms. If Verstappen wanted to do that in a private meeting, say, "Look, I'm not letting him by because of Monaco," and they could have gone, "Okay, it's up to you. We'll ask you." He could have just kept his mouth shut. But instead, Verstappen's gone out and publicly done this. And
why would he do it there? He had nothing to gain, absolutely nothing to gain, except pissing him off. Right? That shows a point.
It's immaturity.
Petty little childish mind.
Well, it's not even just immature, but it's immature not to see the repercussions on the team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. And like, I did a bit of digging today on it on the internet and everything. And like, journalists knew about this Monaco thing, and were talking about it when it happened, that Perez had owned up to crashing on purpose.
Is this like your Charles Leclerc crashing on purpose thing?
I'm telling you now, that tinfoil hat thing, was that what I was doing my tinfoil hat for? I think that was the episode I did my tinfoil hat conspiracy
It
theory.
might have been, yeah.
Because it was about Perez still being in contention for the championship. I think.
No. What I'm talking about is when Leclerc hit
I'm gonna have
the
to go
wall.
back. I'm gonna have to go back. No, that was the
When
year
Le-
before. That was the year before.
Yeah.
That was a
And
gentleman's.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Leclerc hit the wall.
It's too easy to
which
do at
meant that
Monaco. It's too
Yeah.
easy to do.
But then he did the gentlemanly thing because you
Yeah.
reckon that he got found out.
Oh yeah,
He did
I
the
reckon that
gentlemanly thing.
they turned around and said that we've looked at the data and we see that you've over revved or under revved or you've done something there to cause that crash. You know you've done it. Here's your chance to get out of this by taking the gentleman's agreement, and that's what's happened. I'm telling you, mate. My tinfoil hat. I'm going to go back and find that episode. I'm pretty sure my tinfoil hat was about It was after Monaco, and it was about Perez staying in contention in the championship.
I like to use sources that are quantifiable, but in this
Do
case,
you?
I did
you?
read a comment on the truthful news source, which is Instagram.
Oh, that's it.
It said that people
Reputable.
looked at, when you look at the data for Perez, he'd been gunning it on the prior corners. With it looked like he was trying to spin it.
Yeah.
At the different at the corners, he was applying power too early at each of the corners leading up to that to try and spin
They
it.
can look at the data. If Jolene Palmer can look at the data, crikey, they can all look at the data and know when he's putting his foot down, know when he's making it obvious that he's going to spin that thing out. I just think, and it's been done now, it's become a thing in Monaco. Oh, you've got pole. There's a couple of minutes. All your competitors are coming out on your in lap. Just crash it into the wall. Red flag. Game over. You've got pole.
Now, this is another thing. This is something to do with the motivation that Max was pissed because the Triple Crown in Formula One is Monaco, the Indy 500, and Le Mans.
Yeah.
Right, it's winning the three of them,
Right.
and he reckoned, he reckoned that if Perez hadn't done that and he'd got
Let's
pole,
get comfortable for this.
that
Go on.
he would have had a chance to get the first of those Triple Crowns,
Yeah.
Alonso has two of them. There's not many people have the three of them. Indy 500.
Have you got to win it or you just got to be in it?
No, you got to win them. You got to win the Indy 500.
Alonso's not
Le
won the
Mans.
Indy 500. He's not won that.
No, he hasn't. He's tried it twice, though.
Yeah, he came. He was third at one point in the first time he did it. He was doing really well.
Yeah, and he crashed out once, didn't he? But didn't Mansell do it? Mansell's won the Indy 500. He went and
I don't know if it's the 500, but he won the IndyCar
he
series.
won the Indy
Straight from Formula One
from
World
F1.
Champion.
Yeah.
Straight
That's
to
how you,
Indy.
that's how you rock it, isn't it?
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it, man.
And for him, that task wasn't just for November; it was for always.
Hey, that's what they said to Bottas. That's what they were saying to Bottas. He's channeling Nigel Mansell.
Yes.
Anyway, let's get back to the elephant.
Yeah, I just think
He was bang out of order.
Well, he's bang out of order, and he's shot himself and he's harmed the team. What he's done is he's dropped the team in that. He hasn't just taken a little bit of a He could have said anything at that radio. He could have gone, "Oh, my radio! I didn't hear you. My radio went out for the past 10 laps." That's all he could have said, and it would not have been an issue in the paddock. The interviews wouldn't have picked up on it, and they've all picked up on it. Was it because of Monaco? Was it because of everybody knows?
Do you know what? He could have just done it. Right? He had nothing to gain.
Or he could have
from
just done it. Yeah.
Right? He had nothing to gain. And he would have saved all of this. He wouldn't have had to make awkward explanations on the radio. He wouldn't have to make awkward explanations.
He could have got his revenge at another time, couldn't he? Could have left a big stinky poo in the toilet for him or something. Something even, you know what I mean? Could have just weed on the seat before he went in there. Could have done anything, but he chose to do it publicly.
Taking a shit in his pillowcase.
Yeah, something like that. Something innocuous that only he and him would know. But no.
Anyway, do you know what I'd love to know? I'd love to know what Murray thinks of this.
Oh, don't want to. Is he up there?
Is he there? Is Murray there?
Unless I'm very much mistaken.
Thanks, Murray. Murray's going to have some friends next year. I've been working on some more past legends that want to join Murray in these comments on this podcast. We've got some more past legends.
Nice.
So they'll still be called Murrays, but there'll be a few other past legends making some comments. So now, without
Good.
further ado, we're going to go to pit talk, aren't we?
Pit talk, yes.
Let's
go.
go to pit talk.
Pit talk.
Pit talk. There we go. That's some pit talk then.
So,
Let's do it.
what? While we're pit talk at the moment, not a lot of development, that sort of thing. What there is still is one available seat. Now, the Cat, there's one officially available seat.
Not a race seat though.
Yeah, Haas haven't announced who their second driver is for next year.
It's
It
the
is
Hulk.
coming-
I mean, it's going to be the Hulk, isn't it?
That's the general consensus, right?
Okay.
Now, there was an article this week, and I don't know how.
How
I
reliable?
found it interesting more
Okay.
than accurate. Okay.
Okay.
Further to our previous discussion, which we're not going to rehash,
Okay.
it is obvious who is in charge at Red Bull, right?
At the moment, well, yeah. I mean, when you
Right.
say in charge, yeah. Yeah, go on.
How's
Right,
this? How's this for the cat amongst the pigeons?
Go on.
Perez says, "I'm not respected in this team. See you later." All right, he was out of a seat. He was making other plans when he was released from Force India. Okay,
Right. Right, go on.
he said he would be back in 2022. That's gone somewhere. That he stayed with Red Bull for this season, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If he's, they've shafted him, they've stuck with Max, and they've not looked after him. I don't think he's gone to the wall for them. He's pushed it really hard. He's done really well as a second team member and got nothing back from Max, right? So imagine he goes, "Do you know what? Do one." Then that leaves a seat there. Danny Rick goes in there. Thank you very much.
Wow. You really are. Where's your tinfoil hat going on there? Go on. You think Danny Rick will be back on the grid?
So
It's
Danny
an
Rick,
outside prediction. An outside prediction.
yeah, it is an outside prediction, right? Danny Rick is lined up to either. He's been talking to Helmut Marko, right? Helmut Marko has said as much. He said that they're discussing terms for next season as a reserve driver, obviously. But if Checo just goes, "Do you know what?" Then, or if Checo demands things, if he says, "Well, I want you to do X, Y, Z," then they've got Danny Rick, who's a known quantity in that car.
Floating around,
Yeah.
isn't he? Just floating around, ready.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's
100%. And if Max says, "I'm going to," if Max puts his foot down like a petulant child, which he's shown he is,
I've always thought that though.
they've
thought
got a solution right there sitting waiting.
and
Now, the other permutations are that, he's also, Danny Rick.
Danny Rick knows that team.
This is
knows
the Danny Rick story, right? This part here is the Danny Rick story.
Okay.
He is also in discussions with Toto.
Yeah.
He sent
Yeah.
a Honey Badger t-shirt to Toto. They're quite openly flirting with each other.
Yeah, a little bit of bromance going on. This.
Yeah, for
Beautiful.
Danny Rick to be a reserve driver for Mercedes, right? So
Schumacher's
That's
been
the-
in the frame for that a little bit.
that's the other thing as well. Who would you rather have as a reserve driver, right? The role of a reserve driver is to pull it out the bag. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's to step in and nail it, right?
And Mick's been a bit inconsistent. I mean, they both been
99
inconsistent.
times out of 100, you'd want Danny Rick in that car as a reserve driver rather than Mick Schumacher. That's why Hulk's done so well as a reserve driver. He's got him a seat again. He's never won a Grand Prix, and he's got a seat again after being a reserve driver and getting into those cars randomly, Aston Martin 1 week, Renault the next week, and nailing it as
Yeah.
much as he can.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a bit of an outside shot that Danny Rick will be in a Red Bull.
But you think of Helmut Marko, right? They've had
Then
to
again,
bring in.
it was an
But you
outside
think-
chance that Perez was in it.
Think of Helmut Marko, right? Helmut Marko's role is to have drivers lined up in the pipeline for that first team, right?
Yeah.
He had to go outside the Red Bull team for Nick De Vries for AlphaTauri,
Yeah.
right? Which shows that they've not got anyone in their pool in the next 2 or 3 years that can step up to the big team.
Right.
Of course, you're going to want somebody like Danny Rick that knows the team, that's got race pedigree. Get him as a reserve driver. Then if Perez does throw a wobbler, which I think he'd be massively entitled to do. it'd be a shame
Entitled.
to go,
Well,
but he could go somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? There could be all kinds of stuff going on in the background, but it's an interesting thing to talk about.
it is.
The different permutations
I
of
think
it all.
this is coming to an end of a season where Red Bull are going to finish it under a bit of a cloud. I feel.
Again.
I feel like Red Bull.
Had the opportunity to
An
do
implication. I think
he could have done a PR. He could have released a PR goldmine. Look how good the champion is. He let his second teammate, the second driver, through to win or through to getting points to win second in the championship. Red Bull get one, But now everyone's talking about how petulant he is.
Well, what's interesting, while Murray was talking, I just quickly glanced at an article by Jenson Button, and it said if they discussed it pre the race, and he said no, why would you keep asking?
Yeah.
Why would you keep asking him on the radio if he's already said no? It just seems weird. But
Maybe they didn't discuss it clear enough. Maybe they didn't make the point open. They didn't make the point clear enough.
I know. And what's sad is
Sorry.
no. What's sad
That
is
is
like I'm going to
Thank
keep
you, Mitchell.
reiterating it. Ending the season with an implication of lying on your team, top people, Horner, and other people knowing that crash was fake. Ending the season like that instead of being double world champions
It's another championship that's tarnished.
again.
And it's not, that tarnish is going to stay with Red Bull, not Max Verstappen.
Yeah. It'll be.
It doesn't matter
their
who
cheeks.
the drivers are from now on. That is part of Red Bull history.
It's a really silly thing he's done. I just can't imagine why he would do it. That's mental. Unless they rolled the dice to see if he called his bluff. Like you said in the meeting, you weren't going to do it, but we're going to call you out on this in the race. It's all the fact that they had the meeting.
Short-sighted. The risk isn't worth the reward, is it?
The risk isn't worth it, but the risk of what I mean is, he said in the meeting
The risk that he answers the way he did wasn't worth the reward of the 2 points for Checo. That's my point.
It feels like they called his bluff in the race.
Yeah, but that's stupid because the risk isn't worth the reward.
And the risk is you're going to get really called liars now and cheats.
Well, they're not being called liars. If it's shown that they did lie, then they are liars.
Oh, that's big. That's big.
That is. That's huge.
The FAA aren't going to like that at all, especially when it comes to crashing cars. They've had experience of it.
And the cost cap and all these other little. It makes you question their honesty in
Their
other
integrity.
things.
Their integrity.
Oh, hey, there's a big word. That's a big word for you that you didn't stumble
Big
on.
word. I can't spell it, but that's a big word. Integrity.
Well, lucky you're a maths teacher. How many letters is there in it? Oh no, don't ask you that. You're getting some wine in your mouth. That's fine. So other news, still on personnel changes. Matteo Binotto, who's been absent from the last 2 races, Mexico and Brazil.
He's been given a little bit of time away, a little bit of time.
Rumored to be being replaced by Fred Vasseur. Not only is it rumored he's been sacked, but his replacement has been named.
Who's named him? Is this another
It was Fred Vasseur.
Who's Fred Vasseur?
Fred
That's
Vasseur.
gonna be annoying when I'm having a drink. Fred Vasseur.
He has been the Alfa Romeo team principal for the last 5-6 years. How long is it? Since 2016. He's been the team principal of Alfa Romeo. Thank you for paying attention to the middle teams. Jesus.
So you think that he's been given a little bit of time out? Have a couple of races off. Have a little think about your position. What's going on there?
You've screwed up too much, mate. Do one.
You think we're going to let you run the season out?
Packing up his boxes.
You can maybe pop in for the last race, but then quietly go away. Is that what it is?
Benito has been in charge of Ferrari since 2019, right? He was tasked with turning it round, the performance of Ferrari. How do you think, as an F1 historian, how do you think history will look back on him if this is the end of his tenure?
I think this year for Ferrari has been, I can't say disaster, because their step forward has been good. But manager, what's the word? Organisationally wise, they've been all over the show.
Organisationally wise.
Yeah, that's a word. I'm glad there's no hyphen in that either. Just made that one up. Just notice how red in the face I look in this podcast. Or is it because my beard's going whiter? It's just...
For those listeners, Wayne is now stroking his beard and commenting on his skin tone.
Skin tone. I don't think it's been an utter disaster for Ferrari. I think it's sad because right at the beginning of the season, me and you both come in and the whole press, this is their year. And
I think it's been a trackside disaster for them. I think developmentally, they've built a good car.
Yeah.
The engineers in the factory at Maranello have built a solid engine. They've built a solid car. They've done the right upgrades. You know, the people given all of that have screwed it. They've not set it up properly. They've not changed the wheels properly. They've not put the right wheels on it. They've not driven it properly. I think there's a lot of people that have made mistakes. There
was a real vibe change as well. Was Benito at the last race? He wasn't, was he?
No.
And I sensed in the paddock the vibe change of like, yeah, this is where we are. They were almost like resigned at Mexico. This was at Mexico.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, the altitude, all that nonsense." But they were just like, there was a
they were
vibe
a secondary
about
car in Mexico.
But there was a vibe about the way they were talking as well. Just like, yes, where we are. It felt like something had gone on. It felt like Benito wasn't there, and they were just like running the clock out. It felt like that.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be replaced? I think Toto not being there was quite interesting. That they finally get a win.
He skipped a couple of races. Historically, towards the end of the season, I think he does anyway.
It was nice to see when they interviewed him at the end that he had the same connection problems that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George, he was one of the first people that George spoke to.
Yeah.
And he was in the cool down room. They need to sort that cool down room out. Either show it and only have the drivers and leave them in there in a pressure cooker environment so they talk and give us content.
Yeah.
Or don't do it at all, because at the moment it's just awkward.
What happened? I didn't really see the cool down room in this race. Did they not let them talk, or was it
whoever the team
like when they did it in Big Brother, where they play like the birds tweeted and stuff?
Whoever was representing Mercedes, I think it was George's trackside engineer, had a phone and had Toto on the phone, and he was talking to Lewis, and he was kind of gate crashing the cool down room.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see, hi Toto. I don't want to see that. I want to hear them talking about the race with each other.
Yeah. What happened here? Were your tyres going off here? Why didn't we go to the hard? Oh, because they're the worst tyres ever made on the planet.
Oh, did you see what happened to Danny and Kev? That was really sad. Or something that's the content we want to see. We don't want to see them having a Zoom call with their dad. Do you know what I mean? It's not right. I didn't like that.
That cool
And
down
you've
room.
said before about the language and all that. Release it on F1 TV or on YouTube where the language isn't an issue, so we
I
can
just
see.
think they can. I'm sure they can not swear. They're quite capable. They're grown men. You just say don't swear, but have a chat. That's fine with me. I don't mind.
After that kind of intensity. All right, okay, yes, right, yes. If that's what they have to do, I'm sure they can do it.
But then let them talk. And I always find it a lot more fascinating when they're talking about the race. It's one of the best bits of the race, apart from the race, obviously. But that's one of the best bits when you hear them talking about, oh, well, my tyres here, this lap, what happened to him? Oh, look, this is your overtake. You know, that kind of stuff. That's always quite good. It's quite a nice little podium. Do you think you get an expert? If you've been on the podium that many times, you get really an expert sort of talent at squirting that champagne. I noticed on the podium that anyway, if you've been on the podium that many times, you've got right now. I know exactly you're an expert at that. Not only you're an expert race driver, if you've been on the podiums 100 times, you're an expert where to aim, how to aim a champagne bottle. You become an expert at that as well.
Do you know if you kept some of
this content is really
kept
good.
some of this content for one of the weeks when there was nothing to talk about, we could have talked about it for hours. But you bring it out on the busiest.
I just noticed how Lewis Hamilton, he was really good at aiming it, and then he was doing this kind of thing with the bottle where he was aiming it down and getting this up squirt. And I just thought this guy's an expert at squirting.
That's your takeaway.
That was my takeaway from the podium. And you can see Russell just didn't know what he was doing. Didn't know what he was doing.
That was sweet. I thought that was sweet. I thought the whole thing about George.
George getting his race was sweet.
He endeared himself to everyone, I think.
Yeah.
He's done a great job. He's done it in a classy way. He's done it in a respectful way. And yeah, I think people like him even more now.
Yeah.
George is
I never disliked him.
On his first
a little
podium.
bit of a robot when it comes to interviews, but you know.
Well, that's Mercedes press officers for you.
Geez,
Like the team at Brackley, the team in the factory, and
it's good. Yeah, it's an interesting end to a year. Yeah, it's sad. I think, like you say, Red Bull, another year of an ending like this.
Right, let's talk about the last Grand Prix.
Let's do.
Ready? Predictions.
I'm ready to riot.
Okay, let's do our totals. This is it now.
Well, you're doing all that. I will give you the rundown of the Yas Marina circuit. This is one of my favorite tracks of the year, I have to say. On the F1 game, I do like this to drive round. More because of the background, and it's an industry I know and love. So the first Grand Prix at the Yas Marina circuit was in 2009. There will be 58 laps, each lap being 5.281 kilometers, with a race distance of 306.183 kilometers. Quite a long lap. The lap record, my friend, do you know who it was?
Vettel.
Verstappen. Correct first letter. And
That's what I said, Verstappen. Okay.
And the lap record is 1 minute 26.103 in 2021.
Okay. We've got to add some points up, mister.
Yeah, we do.
And it's a close race. I would even say this is more exciting than the Formula One season we've been watching.
I've got no idea. And as a mark of respect for this competition, I'm going to go full screen on this.
Okay.
All right. So currently I'm on 186 points. Wayne is on 187 points. Let's go.
Let's go. Pole lap. No, you're not looking at this. Pole, Hamilton, we both got that, no points. Fastest lap, Perez. Nothing for you. Well, let's do your points. Nothing for you for Perez. Fastest lap, we'll come back to that. So you've got 1 point for Hamilton being in the top 10. 1 point. Verstappen, he's in the top 10, 1 point. Perez, where did he come? Fourth, was it?
Perez was seventh.
Seventh. Oh, I just noticed who I picked to win. 1 point.
I know.
Russell, you get a point. Norris, where did he come?
DNF.
Nothing for Sainz. 1 point.
Third.
Yeah. Alonso.
Alonso was fifth.
1 point. Leclerc, 1 point. Danny Rick, nothing. Bottas.
Ninth.
Oh, 1 point. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got 8 points. 8 points. Here we go. Okay.
Fastest lap.
Fastest
Time?
lap was 1:13, wasn't it? Something.
Yeah.
Let's do mine. So let's do mine. All right. Fastest lap was Russell. Am I correct?
Russell got the fastest lap. What was the time?
1:13.
What was your time? What were we going?
1:12.4.
Oh yeah, you won that.
I got a point for that. And I got a point for the guy who got the fastest lap. Oh, look, who won? Russell. 2 points. Who came second? I got Verstappen there.
Hamilton.
Yeah. Hamilton, I got a point for Hamilton. Where did Perez come?
Seventh.
Oh, I got a point there. Leclerc?
Fourth.
Oh, I got a point there. Sainz, I got a point. Nothing for Danny Rick, nothing for Norris. Alonso, where did he come?
Fifth.
So I got a point for Alonso and nothing for Albon. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 points. 10 points. So that means I am on 197.
Oh, you're 3 points ahead.
And you are on 8 points. 8 onto 6. 194. 194. It's close though, mate. It's close.
3 points ahead, yeah.
I can't believe I predicted the winner actually. Why didn't I go the GOAT? Okay. So
Because I did probably.
yeah. yeah, do I did the undercut on you. Okay, let's clear these off. We won't worry about all these markings here. Okay. You want to do your predictions first, sir?
All right. So I think lap time will be. What was the lap last year? Where are we? Here we go. Lap time 2021 was 1:26. So I think we're about 1.5 seconds slower this year, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I reckon what is that for? I reckon 7.843.
Oh,
27.
0.27.
0.843.
Point. Okay, I'm on it. Like clicking. 843. Yeah.
Yeah, close enough.
Who's going to get pole?
Who's gonna get pole? Charles Leclerc.
Wow. You think he's going to end the season like that?
He's a load of poles this season.
Fastest lap.
Perez.
Perez. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's going to win this race? Sir?
Oh,
Who won it last year? Verstappen.
You take the piss. Most famous.
It was Nicholas Latifi. Nicholas Latifi won it. He won it by slamming it in the wall. A prediction of I have to say, a prediction of a safety car. I think I'm quite good at that one.
I think we might. I
can smell a safety car.
I think we might have to add the number of safety cars in a race as a prediction.
Next year we'll do that, right?
Yeah.
But I think my ability to predict a safety car within 20 seconds is not bad. I think that last race.
You have to assume that there's going to be a safety car on lap 1.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Brazil, mate. I literally texted you and said safety car, and literally 5 seconds later,
Oh yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not going to give me kudos for that. Okay, who's winning
No.
this race? Who's winning this race?
Why are you floating over Verstappen?
Did you say Verstappen?
No, I didn't. No. I think he is.
Who's going to win the race?
Let's go for Hamilton to win,
Yeah, I think so as well. He'll want this one.
and then Perez,
Okay, second, Perez.
and then Verstappen, and then Russell, and then Leclerc, Sainz, Norris. No, Leclerc, Norris,
You want
Sainz,
Leclerc? You got Leclerc, Norris,
Yeah.
Sainz, and then we've got the Alpines to think about. Oh, it's a bit wobbly.
Yeah. Ocon.
Where is Ocon? Oh, there's the boy.
Bottas, Alonso.
Bottas and Alonso.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see how that works out.
Okay. Now I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to go Russell again.
Oh.
Going to go Russell again. I'm going to go Perez second. I've got a crazy.
Yeah, there's no way. There is absolutely no way Verstappen's coming home before Perez this week. Have you frozen?
Yeah, there's no way. No, I just paused. Who's going to be third? Leclerc. Okay. Leclerc. I think we're going to. Where have we got another science here? This science. I'm going to go those Ferraris. I'm going to think. I've got the GOAT fifth. I think there's going to be an instant between Hamilton and Verstappen. I've just got this weird feeling, which is often wrong. Often wrong. Let's be honest. So let's get K-Mag. I want K-Mag 8th there. Right, I'm going to read these out for you podcasters. Don't worry. I know you're all on the edge of your seats here. So who's going to be behind the GOAT?
Latifi.
Who's going to be in the wall would be Latifi. You might.
You mean immediately behind? All right. Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking for Alonso. Where's my spare Alonso? I've only got one Alonso on here. That can't be true. Can you see another Alonso on there?
Yeah,
There
there you go.
And I can't see another Ocon. Wow, Ocon's not been.
Yeah, there is another Ocon.
Where?
Where did I see it?
There's lots of French people, but not Ocon.
No,
There isn't, is there? There isn't.
Unless you've got him hidden behind someone. Is there somebody out there behind Perez down at the bottom here? In the middle? No.
There's another Ocon right in front of Perez now. I'm gonna have.
Yeah, see, I told you.
Poor old Norris. He seems to be just. Is Norris? What flag is that on Norris? I'm sorry, he's British, isn't he, Norris?
He's half Belgian.
What? I've got to change the goat's flag, haven't I, to Brazilian? And lastly, we've got the.
Well, British would be good, mate.
Where's me?
Let's start with
I've
that
got
one.
K-Mag. I'm going to give Ricardo the last point there, just because I like him and it's his last race. And right, so who's going to get pole? Pole is going to be Verstappen. I'm telling you, that's not over between. It's not over between the GOAT and Verstappen.
No, you think that's going to kick off again?
I think, yeah, I do, and I think he won't want Verstappen to win it. Oh, pardon me, jeez, Louise. I'm going to go safe here. 27.567. I'm going to go a little bit shorter than you there. So who I've got to win is Russell to win, Perez second, Leclerc third, Sainz fourth, Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT, greatest of all time, fifth, Alonso sixth, Ocon seventh, K-Mag, I desperately want old K-Mag in there, eighth, ninth, Norris, and Ricardo 10th. Fastest lap, Russell with 1L. Lap time 127.567, and the pole's going to be Verstappen. And that, my friends, will be the winning entry for this season. I will crush it.
I think there's going to be a late safety car, and I'm going to come through and whoop your ass because of your poor tyre choices.
I'm going to predict that no one will put the hard tyre on, because they've suddenly realised at this late stage in the season that the hard tyre, they might as well just put
the C2 tyre, please.
Why do I keep moving those things up? The hard tyre is not good.
The C2 tyre.
The C2 tyre, is that what they call it now?
Well, it's the range of tyres, and it's always the C2 that's the hard. It's troublesome when it's the hard. When it's the C1 that's the hard tyre, or it's the C3 that's a hard tyre, which it could be given the range of tyres available, then it's not so much of a problem. It's just the C2 tyre that's a problem. Sorry for being pedantic, but I felt that I had to fill in while you were lining up all the...
Oh, for God's sake, now.
What are you doing? Can you not do this?
I'm trying to get rid of all the pen marks. I don't want it to be confusing.
Do it off air. Do it off air.
Off air. Like not really live. Like this is some kind of live satellite feed. Are
you sorry?
Oh,
You're not worried that there's people watching this and they'll get better?
No, funny enough, I've seen the stats on YouTube. I know people don't get past.
If anyone's still listening, please click a like or tell us something.
Carl will be listening. Carl,
clearing
all this out. I'm doing the housekeeping.
Do you think Carl?
I am going to post you those things, those bits and bobs, your little treats. I promise you, mate. It's just. But
with all due respect to Carl, he's stuck down a hole, hundreds of feet down a hole, with nothing better to do. Well, for hours of the day.
Is literally the highlight of his week. I presume so. Oh God! Why can't I get rid of that?
This can't be the highlight of anybody's week, Wayne. I would rather look at drill DC.
It's not even the highlight of our week. Well, no, that's it.
Now what have you done?
Stop sharing. Stop.
Yeah, thank you. That's been the Everyone Show podcast.
That's been the Everyone Show podcast, people.
Give us a like, subscribe.
Subscribe. And this next week, it'll be our last show next week, won't it? And then we're going to have a little break.
Just for a while, we're going to have a little break. It's not.
And I'm going to work on some content for mid-season. We'll talk about some old races. We'll do a little bit of a review of Senna, can't we? We can do that. Did you watch it?
£2.49.
You tight ass. You absolute If you want to buy us a coffee, the link's in the description. Then maybe I'll
put it towards. If anyone thinks that I really need to watch Senna, buy me a £2.49 coffee. I'll put it
now we're going to do a little review of that, and we'll talk about some old time stuff. Get back on the nostalgia run, and maybe we could do a little like a season preview show. I don't know, but we'll do some stuff in between, and then we'll be back hard hitting. We're not going anywhere yet.
Given the content that you deserve.
Give you the content you deserve. You think when you deserve something, this is what you deserve. This is all you deserve, people. And on that,
I'd like to think you deserve more than this.
On that,
anyway.
Okay.
On that bombshell.
This has been the Everyone Show podcast. I've been host and roast. That's been the man in the pitch for the tits. We'll see you later.
Luego.
Hey, push this in.